right, part 3 of Lend All This Broken Money. This is a good chapter right here. Chapter 15. All right, Lend All This Broken Money. How fiat currency is created and destroyed. While fiat currency has no significant cost to its production, there are specific rules and mechanisms that dictate how fiat currency is created and destroyed. For the most part, it is created whenever new debt is created, and it is destroyed whenever debts are defaulted on or paid back. And to complicate matters, since the modern financial system uses fractional reserve banking, there are multiple definitions of money with quote, base money, end quote, and broad money being the two most relevant definitions to understand. Now, peep this, folks. Listen to this. The supplies of these two types of money have grown significantly over time. In 1913, when the Federal Reserve was created, there was $2.79 billion in base money and $19.31 billion in broad money. At the end of 2022, there was $5.4 trillion or $5,400 billion in base money and $21.4 trillion or $21,400 billion in broad money. This chapter walks through these two different types of money and how each type of money is specifically created or destroyed. The focus is on the US, but the same idea applies nearly everywhere else. Base money, the monetary base, or quote, base money, end quote, is the foundation of the fiat currency system and consists of the combination of one, physical currency in circulation, and two, cash reserves that the commercial banking system holds with the Federal Reserve. This monetary base is a direct liability of the Federal Reserve. When the system was originally created, this monetary base was redeemable for gold and backed up by a sizable fraction of gold. But since 1971, it hasn't been redeemable for or backed by anything. There is, however, a considerable amount of demand for US dollar hard coded into the financial system. It's the only currency that US taxes can be paid with, and it's the unit of account that everyone must use if they want to interact with the US banking system. Additionally, the dollar has been relied upon for a highly percentage of international cross-border trade for a long time due to a strong network effect and lack of better options. In other words, for most of for most of the past century, the US Federal Reserve has operated the largest and most widely used ledger in the world. And here's figure 15 right here. It's just showing you in billions of dollars, right? The growth, physical currency and bank reserves, how it grows. I'm trusting their ledger, not the Bitcoin ledger. Again, now I am, but this is the price to be paid. As the chart physically, as the chart shows, physical currency in circulation goes up in a rather smooth and exponential way. The amount of bank reserves used to go up at a similar smooth rate until 2008, when they began to go up at a quicker pace due to the need for bank recapitalization. A similar process of rapid recapitalization happened back in the 1930s as well. Some of these details will be discussed later in this chapter. Bank reserves at the Federal Reserve are fungible, interchangeable with each other. As people like you and I use various payment systems to transact with each other, our banks use reserves to settle with each other behind the scenes. Using FedWire, for example, banks that want to settle with each other can just tell the Federal Reserve to rearrange the number of reserves they have listed for each bank on their ledger. In principle, physical currency and bank reserves are also fungible with each other and represent equivalent claims to the monetary base, subject to certain practical limitations. In theory, if we all want to go and take out some of our bank cash at once, it will come out of bank reserves. In practice, however, the amount of physical currency is limited at any given time, and banks hold very little of it. So if there was a bank run for cash, depositors would quickly find themselves limited in how much cash they would physically be allowed or able to withdraw. It's a sad story, folks. And people still trust banks. Good luck. The U.S. Treasury Department creates coins and banknotes via the Mint and the Bureau of Engraving and Printing, respectively. But the Federal Reserve is responsible for putting them into circulation. Each year, the Federal Reserve orders physical money from the U.S. Treasury based on how much it thinks the public will want in physical form, both to replace existing damaged money and to account for some fraction of dollars wanting to be withdrawn from banks in physical form. In other words, the Federal Reserve determines the size of monetary base and what percentage of it exists in physical form for consumers. As is, as is described later in the chapter, the Federal Reserve has certain methods to create or destroy new bank reserves and thus increase or decrease the size of the monetary base. Wow. The broad money supply is far larger than the base money supply. It represents money that the public holds. This broad money calculation consists of currency and circulation, which is also part of the base money circulation. Base money calculation, but then also includes a massive amount of checking deposits, savings deposits, and certificates of deposit that people and businesses hold at commercial banks, collectively referred to as, quote, bank deposits, end quote. Wow, this is interesting. So if you want to read this chapter, go ahead and read it, chapter 15. But this just shows you, folks, the cost of our system. People wonder, again, folks, we went from 1913, what did it say? Just in, wow, what is it? Base money from $5,400 billion. Okay, 1913, remember our great grandparents were born. Mine was born in the 1920s. Around that time, a couple $1,000 billion, right? $5.4 trillion. That's $5,400 billion. And they printed so much fucking money, folks. They created so much money to where now we're sitting at the end of last year, $21.4 trillion. This is why Bitcoin will freaking show out. And people are measuring Bitcoin against the US dollar, folks. How bloody laughable. Again, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. Or if you put it in sats, there's 100 million sats per Bitcoin. 100 million times 21 million, 2.1 quadrillion. 1 quadrillion, 1,000 trillion, 1 trillion, 1,000 billion, 1 billion, 1,000 million. All right. Well, 1 billion equals 1,000 million. That's how I should put it. But yeah, do y'all get the point of that? So what you have is infinity of fiat currencies being printed. That's just America, folks. Sorry. Divided by 2.1 quadrillion satoshis. So this is the price to be paid, folks. Your purchasing power has been going down every single year because all they do is just print money. And this is what people don't seem to understand. This is our system right here. How do we go from 1913, a little past $5 trillion, again, in what, base money, to now we have $21 trillion? This is crazy, honestly. This is the price to be paid. Do I want to hold this thing called the US dollar or any fiat currency if that? Or do I want to hold an instrument that can't be diluted, debased, devalued? Again, this is crazy. Call me crazy all you want, but one thing I will not do is sit here and save a tool that's been diluted like crazy. I don't care about prices going. I don't care. Give me a tool that can't ever be changed, but I know the monetary policy. I've done the work, folks. I read this book. I'm doing my research. It's crazy to me, honestly. So read this chapter, folks. Like I said, educate yourself. Part 3, Alden broken money. Part 4 is coming out. I think part 4 is gonna be good. I think part 4, right? Part 4, I think it's about Bitcoin, I believe. But yeah, part 4 is gonna be good. So stay tuned, folks. I'll see you in my next video. Peace.